Good afternoon. Welcome to today's podcast, Why You Shouldn't Take That Collagen Supplement. Or cartilage, especially shark cartilage because that's just plain silly. Cartilage is just collagen and shark cartilage is touted because of course sharks don't get cancer, but of course they do get cancer, and even if they didn't, taking cartilage isn't going to help you from getting cancer or cure cancer if you already have it. So first off, what is collagen? Collagen is the most abundant protein in the body, provides tensile strength, absorbs impact, serves as a connective tissue in ligaments, tendons, and ground substance, and it's also the scaffolding upon which bone is built. It's the primary protein of basement membranes in which arteries and veins and supportive tissues that surround organs are built. There are multiple types of collagens, different from each other slightly in amino acid sequence such that they all have somewhat unique properties depending on which tissues and function they serve. To date, there are at least 42 different genes that code for collagen subunits, and there are at least 30 distinct types of collagen. So all that sounds great. With all those functions that are important to the human body, why not take a collagen supplement? Well, there are two good reasons, starting with how collagen and other proteins are handled in the gut. The first stop for most proteins after oral intake is the acidic environment of the stomach. Most proteins are acid sensitive and denature in that low pH environment. What this means, if a protein is denatured, it permanently loses its functionality. So basically, this alone would knock out most protein supplements because once they hit the stomach, whatever their function once was, they would no longer be able to do it. Also in the stomach, enzymes called peptidases start to cleave the proteins into large pieces. Any proteins that escape denaturation are still going to get destroyed by this process. These large chunks are no longer functional protein. Now, fibrous proteins like collagen and elastin, they can escape this fate to some degree, but that isn't going to make them useful supplements, as we will see. So once the stomach passes the protein chunks into the small intestine, pancreatic enzymes secreted into the small intestine break the large pieces into smaller pieces. Though again, fibrous proteins largely escape this fate and are going to continue on to the large intestine, where they are ultimately done away with. Now, in the small intestine, which is made up of cells called enterocytes, these cells are responsible for the absorption of nutrients. There are additional enzymes along the border of the gut that these enterocytes use to break down proteins into amino acids, which is how the majority of the original protein is going to be absorbed. Some small segments of di and tripeptides are absorbed as well, but functionally, the protein that was digested no longer exists, and the only thing that is secreted into the bloodstream is going to be these amino acids, the building blocks to make new protein. But nothing to suggest that these amino acids are ever going to be reassembled necessarily into the protein that was the original one eaten by the human that ate them. So reason 2 is the way collagen is made. So even if we could absorb collagen as it is if we took it orally, collagen is a fibrous protein, which means it's insoluble. So even if we could absorb it in a functional form, there's no way to get it to where it needs to be since it's not soluble in blood. Collagen has to be made at the site where it is used. This is done by specialized cells called fibroblasts. Now, it was once thought that all collagen was made by fibroblasts, but we now know that there are a whole bunch of different types of epithelial cells that can make collagen, but for now we'll stick with fibroblasts. And the type of collagen made is going to be specific to the location and its use. So remember, we said there are close to 30 different types of collagens. Not every fibroblast is the same. Not every collagen made by those fibroblasts is the same, and it is going to depend on whether or not the collagen is being secreted into synovial joints to make ground substance, or whether it's going to be secreted as basement membrane to make the support structures for organs and arteries and veins. All of the collagens are going to be made at the site where they are needed, and they are going to be specific for that site. So collagen is made inside the fibroblast as small fibrils, which are then secreted and further modified in the intercellular spaces by being cross-linked by other enzymes, primarily lysyl oxidase. And there are a few other enzymes, TIMPs and MMPs and other types of things that modify these matrix proteins to make sure they are suitable for the environment they're in and the purpose that they serve. Elastin, which is another fibrous protein, is made and secreted in much the same way. So basically, all the amino acids that we took in, they could eventually find their way to a fibroblast, but just because they came in as collagen, which they didn't because we don't digest and absorb fibrous proteins, it doesn't mean they're going to be made into collagen again or going to stimulate collagen production. And this can be said for all protein supplements. Any protein supplement that is said to have a specific function, that simply is not going to be the case, because all proteins are going to be very much like what we had here, broken down into the constituent amino acids, and so they will be used to make other proteins, but not necessarily the protein that they once were. So let's take a look at a collagen supplement. Since we know that supplementing collagen isn't really going to help, at least not in terms of making collagen, let's look at what we could do from a popular snake oil shop. Now, I've craftily blocked out the name so it's impossible to identify the shyster who is selling this. Impossible, I say. These bags are approximately 400 grams. It looks like a little bit more for the chocolate, a little bit less for the vanilla. And right now it is being sold on the website for $109 a bag, but the price tends to range from $100 to $150. Now compare that to a jug of whey protein that you can get at a pharmacy, which you can actually break down and digest whey protein. So bodybuilders who want to get a little extra protein, you're actually going to get it when you have whey protein. But those typically have about 900 grams in a jug, and they sell for around $20 to $30. So this is very overpriced. Well, $1 would be overpriced since you're not going to be able to do anything other than make a lot of collagen-enriched poop. Well, that's it for today's podcast. Hope you enjoyed. And remember, look critically at every supplement before you buy it.